I'm Chip Rowan with the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel, and for this episode of Our Neighbors, I have with me Judy Keller. Hello, Judy.
Hi, Chip, and thank you for inviting me to share with the viewers of Armstrong Services our excitement about this project that we're presenting to the community.
Yeah, we actually met a few years ago, and we talked about the honor roll for Connellsville, and you started that project. That was in 2018. Could you share with our viewers what's happened since then?
Well, unfortunately, we all had to step back a little bit because of the pandemic, and our committee did not have any in-person meetings, although we did communicate by phone and by email. And what we have done in the last almost 2.5 years now is do a lot of research to be very specific about the names of people from the Connellsville Area School District boundaries that made the supreme sacrifice while serving our military during time of war. So we have accumulated about 250 names, and we're seeking support from the community to make sure that we do not exclude anyone. The community can reach out to our committee members or to me personally and provide information so that no name is left off the honor roll and that we make sure that the spelling of the name is correct.
And that has to be a task in itself, getting all the spelling correct.
Yes. But we have, as I said, come up with a basic design with the help of Tony Grasso from the former Grasso Greenhouses. And we have done a lot of research on the granite. And I might add that the granite will then be engraved with the names of those who, as I said, made the supreme sacrifice. And we're saying that this would be names of anybody who lived or went to school within what are now the boundaries of the Connellsville Area School District. So when we go back many decades, that would include the former Dunbar Township High School and School District, the former Immaculate Conception High School up here on Prospect Street, and of course Connellsville High School and Connellsville Area High School. Also, the committee made the decision with the guidance of one of our members, Ron Schroyer, who is a 30-year member of the United States Navy and did work for the Veterans Administration, that the names will include not only those that were killed in combat or lost in combat, and some of them were never recovered, but also, according to the Veterans Administration, anyone who died while in uniform in a training accident, any other accidental form of death or illness.
Because they were also serving.
Yes, they were serving our country in uniform during a wartime crisis. They are considered casualties of war, but they're not considered combat deaths.
Now, if someone is watching the show and they have a family member or a loved one that they want to get their name included on this, how can they contact you?
Well, my home phone is 724-628-3639. My email is kellerja@zoominternet.net, or they can reach out to any other committee member that they feel comfortable in contacting.
You want to name the committee members?
We're very proud to have 3 veterans on our committee. Mr. Jerry Brow, the former superintendent of the Connellsville Area School District, I understand served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. And Ron Schroyer was a chief petty officer in the United States Navy. And Tom McFadden is the quartermaster at our local VFW post down on Arch Street. And other committee members are Bob Lubitsch, Mayor Greg Lincoln, City Clerk Vern Oler, and Timothy Witt.
So you can contact any of those folks, you or any of them, to add a name to that. So if it's someone in the Connellsville, what we consider the Connellsville Area School District, they would be included.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Judy, last time we met, you were still looking for a location. And you and I know what that location is, but let's share with our viewers where that new location has been decided.
Well, the committee spent a lot of time brainstorming and discussing various locations, but we came back to our very first instinct, and that is the beautiful War Memorial here at the corner of Route 119 North and North Pittsburgh Street in Connellsville.
And if you could explain, this is a war memorial, which is different than an honor roll, and talk about the difference.
Well, this War Memorial is a wonderful, wonderful addition to our community, but there are no names listed there. And so the honor roll differs slightly in that the names will be sandblasted or engraved, if you will, on the various pieces of granite. And we're going to locate them according to the design offered by Tony Grasso around the base of the current War Memorial.
And right now, this is used a lot, like for Memorial Day parades and for other events, too.
Well, and that was one of our priorities when we began to meet. We wanted to decide those couple of things. Who will be put on the honor roll? Not just combat deaths, but those who died while in uniform during a time of war. And secondly, we wanted it to be very visible, and we wanted it to be on the parade route, because the Memorial Day parade concludes here every year, and of course there are always very somber services here at the memorial. And then every third year, Connellsville is very honored to host the county-wide Veterans Day Parade every third year.
Right. And that actually ends here, too.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a great location. And I know I've read in the Daily Courier some of your plans, and if you would share with our viewers, you have plans to kind of renovate this area and make improvements to it.
Well, it's hard to improve on perfection. I mean, again, the flowers done by the Conservancy and the work done to maintain the grounds and keep the grass looking beautiful. But again, we decided to remove the evergreens and the overgrown shrubbery. I think we've probably been there for more than 50 or 60 years. And also replace all the old concrete with new concrete that will have a little bit of a nice design to it, and actually widen the concreted areas.
And the price tag for that, from what I was seeing in the paper, is around $45,000?
Right now, the estimates that we have developed are close to $40,000. And I will add, if I may, that my husband and I, when we started pursuing this project, went around and we took photographs of various honor rolls in Everson, Scottdale, Mount Pleasant, Dunbar, Dawson, Vanderbilt, South Connellsville, Brownsville, I believe, just dedicated theirs about a year ago. And also, this past Thursday, we went down to California, Pennsylvania, and saw their new honor roll down there. And I was told by the people in Brownsville that they spent about $45,000, and most of the labor was done by members of the committee, and they still spent $40,000 to $45,000. And
well, this is a long-term project too. I mean, it'll be around for a long time. So this is kind of like an investment.
Yes. Well, and again, I believe Connellsville is a very patriotic community, and I think, if nothing else, these men who made that supreme sacrifice deserve this. I mean, they deserve our deepest gratitude for what they did for all of us to protect our freedoms.
Men and women both, correct?
Oh, yes. Well, we do not have any females that lost their lives
I didn't realize
in uniform during wartime.
Okay.
But again, I just can't emphasize enough how devoted these individuals were.
And when we were preparing for this, you talked about New Orleans has an honor roll. And would you share with the viewers? I thought that was a very neat statistic.
Well, and I'm ashamed to admit it, because I was a social studies teacher for 30 years in the Connellsville Area School District, and I love American history. I love especially 20th century American history, maybe because I've experienced so much of that, and my parents were born in the early 20s and lived through the 20th century, but I did not know until recently that the World War II Museum in New Orleans has an introductory presentation narrated by Tom Hanks. And when the visitors to that fantastic museum arrive, one of the things they hear from Tom Hanks is that the town or community in the United States that had the highest percentage of enlistments per capita in World War II was Connellsville, Pennsylvania. I mean, it gives me chills.
Yeah, that's amazing. And can you imagine going there and not realizing that they're going to say that, and all of a sudden you would hear that?
Well, and it was first brought to my attention by a former colleague of mine at the high school, Mr. Jim Shabondi, who was a basketball coach for many years. And he and his wife had been down to the museum, I don't know when, but recently, within the last couple of years, and they're the ones that enlightened me, and they were just in awe when they heard that, and they couldn't wait to share that with me.
Yeah.
And then another individual that many people in the community would know, Father Dan Ulishny, who was here with our Catholic community for several years and then was transferred over to other parishes in Westmoreland County. He said he was just there this month. And he said how proud he was to learn that about the community that he had once served as a priest.
And that's more reason for us to have an honor roll here in Connellsville.
I've got goosebumps right now.
It's not cold out here, folks. So it's not. It's not
No.
cold. Now, we talked about raising $40,000 to $45,000, and you're going to do that through donations. And I know some donations have already come in, and any donation is accepted and appreciated. Do you want to talk a little bit about how people can donate and how important those donations are?
Well, no donation is too small. We are appreciative of any amount anyone can feel free to donate. And the donations are being accepted on our behalf by the Connellsville Festival Association, and they are a 501c3, so your donation may be tax deductible, and you can mail your donation to the Connellsville Festival Association at 415 North Penn Street in Connellsville, and please put on the memo line of your check that the donation is for the Veterans Honor Roll. So there is a specification. But you make the check out to the Connellsville Festival Association, but on the memo line, Veterans Honor Roll.
I know the Festival Association does a number of things. They sponsor the fireworks here in Connellsville, 4th of July. So.
Yes, and they just were so eager to help us out.
I've noticed on Facebook and in the Connellsville Courier, some people were making some donations, some significant donations. You want to talk a little bit about some of those donors?
Yes. Again, the Connellsville Veterans VFW post on Arch Street, the Walter F. Brown post. I think it's 301 if I'm not mistaken. They just presented a check last week for $5,000. And Dunbar Distributor, we just received a check from them yesterday for $1,000. And the VFW Ladies Auxiliary from the Walter Brown Post has informed me that they're donating $1,000. And then we've had other donations, as much as $150, $150. Like I said, if you can afford $5 or $10, every little bit goes to this much needed and well-deserved honor roll.
Time frame for when you I know the money is the biggest thing, but do you have an idea of what's your goal?
Well, our goal would be to have it finished for next Memorial Day.
Okay.
But I just talked to some suppliers this morning and said, when we get our T's crossed and our I's dotted, what time frame are we looking at for completion? And they said, well, next spring or summer. So it may not be done by May 30th, but we would hope soon after. if not Memorial Day, at least for Veterans Day. And we want to have, we hope, a very fitting and somber dedication once the honor roll is completed. And of course, every other improvement there. But like you said, our future rests in the hands of the generosity of our community.
It sounds like you've received some significant donations already that are helping. And as you mentioned, smaller donations, you get four $25 donations, that's $100, and those start to add up quickly. And so, folks, we encourage you to give and support this. The address is available for that. A time frame for your honoring it. You started in 1806, I believe, and you're going through present. Is that correct?
Yes, again, I know other honor rolls that I have personally visited are World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. But we decided, if we could, to go back to 1806 when Connellsville became, I guess, a borough at that time, or chartered. And we know at the Alamo, there was a David Cummings Jr. that died at the Alamo. And he had roots here in Connellsville. And then in the Spanish-American War, Walter F. Brown was killed in Cuba, and he is the namesake for our local VFW post. And then in World War I have located approximately 50 names, and World War II, 143, and Korea, 15, and Vietnam 13, and then during what is still considered the Gulf War by the Veterans Administration and the Defense Department, we lost Tim Bullabon, who was a Navy SEAL, I believe in 1991 or 1992, and then Shelby Finello was lost in, I think it was 2005 in Afghanistan. So they will be, so we're going to have, and we're going to have a designation on the granite to signify these are the names for World War I, these are the names for World War II. And again, how much information we can put on that granite depends on, again, the donations. I would like to put their rank and their date of death beside their name. But again, everything is cost effective.
Well, Judy, I appreciate your work. I know you have a committee that's helping you, and I appreciate the committee's work too, but I know, and I've heard this from committee members too, you've really spearheaded this, and from our first conversation, you had a goal in mind of getting this information, finding a location, so thank you for pushing forward on this in what has been a difficult time, but appreciate all your work.
Well, it's a labor of love. And I'm retired. I have a lot of time on my hands. And as I said, when I traveled around to our surrounding communities and saw their beautiful honor rolls, I said, there's something missing here and we need to rectify that. So that's my mission. And it's a team effort. I couldn't do it without the committee. Our committee can't do it without the support of the community. And I know times are tough. I mean, everybody suffered through the pandemic. And people are struggling to get back on their feet. I understand that. And so if it's too much to ask, we understand that. We understand that. Where there's a will, there's a way. And if it takes us 2 or 3 years to raise the money, we hopefully can get that done. And we'll just keep plugging away at it.
Well, I know the committee has worked hard because you had to get approvals from PennDOT, approvals from the city, so you've worked through all that process.
Oh, yes. And again, you know, we had our first meeting in October of 2018, and we made some of those basic decisions, and then we had to get approval from PennDOT for our basic design ideas, and we went back and forth with that for a little bit, and then the city council at their May meeting did grant us permission to use the site. So it's not that we've been treading water and not trying to get things accomplished. It just, sometimes it takes time. And I think everybody in the community and in the business world realizes that. That, you know, there's just certain procedures that you have to follow in order for things to be done properly. And as I said, we did consider other sites on the parade route, but those sites are privately owned. we contacted the owners, and they had their reasons not to be in a hurry to give up their properties for whatever reason. So, like I said, we did come back to our original choice anyway. So.
And it's good to take time because it's an important decision because it's long term. So it's not like something that's only going to be here for a little while. So waiting on that. And the foundation has been laid with the work that you've already done. Now it's time for people to help by giving financially. And I encourage you to individuals to give, but also organizations. So maybe you're a part of an organization, and you've heard Judy mention a few organizations that have already given, but that's a good way to help too. As a group, as you're raising money, maybe you could include this as a project to help fund. Judy, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Well, you mentioned the honor roll being a long-time project, and this current war memorial, I believe, is at least 60 or 65 years old. It's been there since probably the late 50s as a byproduct, if you will, of our sesquicentennial that was held in 1956. So that still stands so magnificently after 60-odd years. So that honor roll will be here for a long, long time, and it just needs to be respected and viewed by everyone that passes by, and we're just really very hopeful and very positive about it.
And it's great work to work on something that's going to outlive us.
Yes, definitely outlive me.
Well, Judy, thanks again for your work. Thank you for sharing with the viewers about this great project, the Honor Roll Project here in Connellsville. And folks, you know how you can give. We provide that information, so we hope that you'll send in your donations. This is Our Neighbors.